So we just watched the Fantastic Four trailer, the new one, the new that came out today. How are we feeling about that trailer? Are we hyped?
I think they did a good job with it. They presented everyone on the team to look pretty good. We get to see a little bit from everyone. I think here's where they officially dropped the news that Sue is pregnant. So, gonna get a little Franklin. That's gonna be exciting. Fantastic, even as they said in the trailer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Clever.
Thank you.
It was very good.
I thought of that myself. Silver Surfer, she's been like the big kind of uproar.
I really love the actress, and so I didn't mind her at all here. I didn't see anything that I didn't like.
Yeah.
But I like I said, she's an amazing actress. I love her in every role I've seen her in. Admittedly, not that many. She's pretty young, but yeah, I mean, she's easily the breakout star of Ozark. If you take her out of that show, oh God, it's like a 5 out of 10.
Is she in the first 2 episodes of Ozark?
I don't remember if they meet Ruth or not.
Okay.
She's like the really trashy, like redneck girl that lives in the town they moved to.
I haven't made it that far.
The one that doesn't know fuck about fuck?
She doesn't know shit about fuck. Yeah, that's her line.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Does she know fuck about shit though?
We don't know.
Oh, okay.
Untold. But yeah, like she is by far the best character in that show, and like it's the whole arc too. Like when you first meet her, you're like, this disgusting fucking person. Like I would never want anything to do with this person. And then by the end of the show, she's your favorite character. So I love a character arc, you know, especially a redemption arc.
Yeah, I didn't mind this interpretation of Silver Surfer. There's a few things I don't like, and it's mostly around the people on either side of the Silver Surfer conversation. I hate people on both sides of it. I hate the people that are bashing it without giving it a chance, and without giving it the time of day to prove that, hey, this interpretation can be something cool and interesting. And I hate the other side too, who feign comic book knowledge but don't have it.
Yeah.
Technically, this version of the Silver Surfer is in the comics. She is her name is Shala Ball. She's actually the wife of the original Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad. Hell, she's the reason really why he chooses to be the Herald of Galactus, and because he wants to defend his home planet and her.
Right.
There is one comic book, Earth X, where she does become a Silver Surfer alongside her husband, and that is where they got the inspiration from to do this with the character. However, that book is like she has maybe 3 or 4 pages in it.
Yeah.
And then she's killed. So it's not like it's a lot of it's very deep cut. In other words, the thing that worries me about it though is like whenever they make drastic changes to characters, they typically do it when they suspect the fan base doesn't know much about a character. Like they did that with Taskmaster, and you see how that went. Silver Surfer, he's a very beloved character, so they really have to do right by this character to make sure that fans are happy.
My guess, based on the Doomsday casting, is that the universe that Fantastic Four takes place in, I think Galactus is going to get Earth. I think he's going to destroy Earth.
Even after this trailer.
Even after this trailer. Listen, Galactus, spoilers if you haven't seen the trailer, but like his feet, his speedies are on the Earth. That
not a good sign.
Does not bode well.
Maybe he's asking for directions. Maybe he went to go to like a different planet. He took a wrong turn somewhere. And he said, let me ask these Earthlings to see if they know.
He's like, is this C-137? No. Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
Pulls out a portal gun.
Yeah.
Opens a ginormous portal, just steps through. He's a nice guy.
He was kind of big, but he was a nice guy.
Yeah. My thought is that the Fantastic Four universe here is going to get destroyed. I also think that the Fox universe is going to probably get destroyed. Maybe with Doom having something to do with both of them. To really set up Doomsday. That's just my theory. However, I also thought that Quantumania was that they were going to kill everybody except Stature, and B, that the movie was going to be good. So I was double wrong.
Okay, have you seen Quantumania?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I told Timmy, because I watched it with him, that even without, like, you know how you say a certain word in a movie or something, you take a shot? I didn't need the shot. Like, just put the alcohol in front of me and I would be drunk off of the fumes because of how many times they said quantum.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's worse in the second movie, though, somehow. I feel like.
I think it is.
They actually, I think, said quantum more in the second one.
I think this one, I don't know, maybe it just annoyed me more. I was already prepped for it from the first one and the second one. But yeah, they just said quantum way too many times. It's like, we get it. We get it.
Yeah. Pseudoscience, quantum, So you have to make sure that you know that the science is sound.
Let's add quantum and then
yeah, exactly.
You can't argue that.
Remember the show Quantum Leap? Hey, they didn't say quantum enough, so no one bought the science.
That's what's going to happen. Galactus touches down on Earth, and then Scott Lang is going to show up, just him, and beat him in a fist fight.
Beat Galactus.
Yeah.
In a fist fight.
I mean, he beat Kang.
It's true, he did.
He beat the most dangerous Kang.
I mean, I think we're sleeping on Scott Lang. He might be the one who stops Dr. Doom.
Yeah. Franklin Richards, who needs him?
Yeah, pish posh.
Yeah.
But no. In all seriousness, I thought this was actually a really good trailer.
Yeah. I'm really excited. So from jump, I've been really excited about Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Still am. This trailer really, to me, like. I don't know that anybody's ever actually done this character justice. Like, usually it's just like, he's a hothead, and that's the one-dimensional...
Arrogant hothead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there might be some more depth to him in this movie. We'll see.
That's what I was getting.
Yeah. I'm still not completely sold on Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards yet. And it doesn't help that he didn't have a whole lot in this trailer.
Yeah.
We got to see him be really stretchy, though.
We did get to see him be stretchy.
Yeah.
Why can't he stretch that Pedro Pascal mustache to be like at least a beard or something? He just looks so much like Pedro Pascal.
Do you think there'll be a scene where he and Sue like get married and then he reaches the arm out of the top of the...
No. Please, God, no. No.
There's a scene in the 94 version and it's god awful. It's like they get married and then they pull off in the limo or whatever, and like they have this very obviously fake arm, and it just kind of comes out of the top and does this.
And they linger on that shot
for a while.
Oh yay!
Yeah,
I'm so glad I didn't see that.
A good 60 seconds. And no one else really saw it either. It was never released.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We had the pleasure to watch and review it. Yeah. You missed the classic with that one, Kay.
Dang it.
Yeah. It's on the Plex if you just really...
Yeah, you guys can go home and watch it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to go to sleep, but you could. You could.
I have books to read.
Oh, man. But before we get into the main event tonight, this is funny because we're going to start on Andor next week.
Yes.
So the guy that plays Cassian, Diego Luna, he was actually almost arrested coming through TSA because, they usually get things from the set or whatever. And the one thing he wanted Cassian's blaster.
Oh, no.
And so he's like, well, I don't want to mail it home. He's like, I don't want to get stolen or something like that. Like, it's a priceless thing. So he just fucking put it in his luggage. And so, of course, it goes through the machine at TSA. And he was like, yeah, so we had just wrapped filming and we had a big after party. He's like, so I'm hungover as shit. I'm going through TSA. So he's like, so I look ragged. They find this fucking gun in my luggage. he's like, and then the TSA people like open up the luggage and like, what is this? And they're like crowded around, and he's like reaches for it. He's like, no, it's just a prop. Let me show you.
Oh no,
no, don't do that.
Yeah. So he almost got arrested. Fortunately, someone recognized him. They were like, oh, that's the guy from Narcos. They didn't even know that he was in Star Wars.
That doesn't make it better. Like if you look at him and think Narcos.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And there's a gun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it all got straightened out.
That's funny.
Wow. Hot damn. That that could have gone way south. Yeah, I hate to be that guy, but it's in line with the movie tonight that we're going to review. It's like that Peter Griffin meme where like he's holding up the shader, like where is he on the Darko meter?
Yeah,
and that would determine our reaction here. Oh shit!
The lone wolf terrorist line.
Yeah. That's an incredibly horrendous story. That could have gone sideways.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of stories that go sideways.
Yeah, homies. Allow me to welcome all of you back here to a very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and tonight I am here with none other than the world's greatest co-host. I'm not sure if he's a vampire or not. I don't know how many times I've seen him in the daylight. He hasn't bitten me. That I'm aware of. It'd be kind of weird. Like, we're close, but we're not that close, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I'm talking about the homie Caleb.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And tonight, I also have here with us someone who probably is a vampire. I'm talking about the crochet fairy herself.
Yeah.
The homie Kay.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I could be a vampire. Yeah.
Well, that's true. I was gonna say that you sleep too much to be a vampire, but vampires do sleep a lot.
They do.
So
yeah.
But I've seen you go out in the day a lot, so you might be like a day walker at minimum.
Yeah, that's fair.
That explains why you don't age.
Oh, see, there we have it.
Yeah, there we have it.
I do age. I am older.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
When I think about it like that, people are very lucky that like Blade just decided to be a good guy.
Yeah,
you know, because like he could just be like a really evil vampire with extra powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, all right, well,
he could have been my shirt. Woke up and chose violence.
He does do that still.
Yeah, it's just against vampires. Yeah, like if he weren't like racist against vampires, you know?
Yeah.
Be like, oh well, all right. He walked here through the sun, so he's fine.
Right.
He's fine.
Oh boy.
We can let him in. It's fine. Do the vampires in Blade actually go by that? The whole you have to invite me in thing?
No.
No. I don't recall any of the times where they had to wait for that. They just sort of messed everybody up.
Yeah, Blade ain't never had to ask to enter anywhere.
Yeah, the vampires would be doubly fucked if they had to ask permission to enter places. Like, imagine they're running from Blade and they're like, shit, man, can someone please let us in?
Please let us in, please. A motherfucker's hunting us.
He said something about ice skating uphill, and we don't know what he means.
Yeah.
See, usually in vampire stuff, the threshold it has to be a home, someplace that is like where somebody lives and they create a life. The stronger you are with the connection to where you live and the family that you have inside, the stronger your threshold is.
Oh.
And so vampires that can just because in this movie there was, if you go by that logic, there wasn't a threshold. It was a public setting.
Yeah, or I mean, I think that if you bend those rules or try to expound on them, it could be a place where like there is like a type of energy or a type of love of some sort that emanates from a place.
That's fair.
Yeah, I definitely want to expound upon that in the spoiler section.
For sure.
But that being said, folks, we're here tonight to review the new Ryan Coogler movie, Sinners. And it's been a little while since we had to do this, but of course we're going to have the reading of the rules. We skipped this for the Minecraft movie because we were like...
Because no one cared.
We were like, number one, fuck it. And number two, there has to be a plot for us to spoil it for you. Yeah. So tonight, the first half of this review will be spoiler free. We're going to talk about the acting, the plot, the setting, all that good stuff. The music, especially in this. And then we will have a brief little bit where we're going to bullshit. I'm sure you'll have ample time to vacate if you haven't seen the movie yet. And then we're also going to score the thing. And then we are going to, in the second half, with plenty of warning, we're going to spoil the shit out of it. So if you have seen the movie, definitely stick around for that. If not, catch the first half. Go watch the movie if you still want to. You probably will. And then, come back and check out the spoiler field. Or if you just don't care.
Or if you don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I love spoilers. They help with my anxiety.
I like how you have been on here so many times and you never spoiled anything. And yet you don't care about spoilers. But me, just like 20 seconds into the fucking Captain America review, I just...
Well, see, here's the thing, is I've had a lot of practice not telling spoilers because everyone around me hates it when I do. And I would like it if people weren't telling me to shut up, so...
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that Captain America spoiler you dropped was hilarious.
It really was. Like, fortunately, you edited it out before it made it to you guys. But it was the only real moment that someone has just spoiled the fuck out of something in the spoiler free section, and we're all just like, "Oh no!" It was awful. Yeah, it was awful.
Oh man. But yeah, we are here to talk about Sinners. And I guess before we get too far into things, what's everyone's vague overall thoughts and feelings on this movie?
I loved it. I kind of was grinning like crazy, especially when the music was happening, because I knew a lot of the songs that were playing, and so that made me happy.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were going to think about this movie, because I'm not sure how you are with gore or...
I don't like gore. I do like supernatural and vampires. So if
that's a fine needle.
It is. It's a very fine line. So if it turns out to be more supernaturally and less people, then I can handle it a little better because it's supernatural-esque. But if it's people killing people, I can't really do that.
I understand.
There's a line.
Yeah.
And usually it's who's the murderer? Is it supernatural or human?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this movie wasn't overly gory. I mean, for a modern vampire flick that's rated R, I think they honestly, I mean...
It was pretty tame compared to some...
Yeah, compared to 28 Days Later, or even The Last of Us, or, anything like that. I mean, it's more tame than True Blood or any of those. I gotta say that the movie did not use a ton of that kind of thing. They used the gore very selectively. They used the jump scares very selectively.
And they got me even when I knew they were fixing to happen.
And effectively, I thought. I really loved this too. I was not quite sure what this movie was gonna be. And 40 minutes into it, I still wasn't quite sure what it was going to be, but I knew I didn't want to stop watching it.
Yeah.
This was a really good film. I love the way that, I'll get into this more in a bit, but I really love the way that it was shot. I pay attention to a lot of those sorts of things. And, I had a blast with it.
I am a little upset with this movie.
Is it because you got lured into a antebellum vampire musical?
Actually, yes, because they tricked me into liking a musical.
Okay, but it's musical with historical music.
It is.
It's not just hey, we're gonna sing about a flower and dance and all this stuff.
Right.
It's this is the beginning of blues.
Yeah, and underneath that guise, I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a tremendous piece of work that they did here. I think everyone from Ryan Coogler, the director, to like the entire cast and crew did such a great job. And the thing about like any kind of monster movie, it's going to depend on a couple things. One, the setting. Like, what's the setting going to be like where the monster or monsters stalk the protagonist? And two, how attached are you to the protagonist in the movie? And and then three, I always say this about with any horror movie, and that is, what are the rules to the monster? And this movie does such a great job at explaining and exploring all those things. The setting, even the time period, plays a part into all this. The characters are fully explored, I thought, and they also really give us a really cool rundown on what the rules are for the monster.
And they do it without it feeling like, okay, I'm gonna sit you guys down and give you some exposition.
Yeah,
yeah, it felt very natural.
Yeah. There was no, and what was so ironic about this, and I imagine that Ryan Coogler did this on purpose. There's a trope in classic Hollywood that I always refer to as the magical mystical Negro, and that's the old black man who comes by and gives sagely advice or expounds on things that no one else has any idea about. And ironically, in this movie, there was no magical mystical.
Well, Beatrice kinda. I mean,
yeah, but not a traditional magical mystical Negro. Like, there was no Morgan Freeman,
right? No,
and so that was interesting. But so let's you guys want to start here with maybe some of the characters and go into like the vague plot points that we have here.
Yeah. So obviously, we're introduced early in the movie to Sammy, who's kind of, I guess, the main character. Honestly, I would say that the main character spot is shared between himself and the twins. Mm-hmm. Which they are cleverly the smokestack twins. One of them is Smoke, the other one's Stack.
Right.
I thought it was so clever and cute. I was like, oh, look at that. They are smokestack.
If I ever have twins, I'm calling them one cash and one money.
The Cash Money Twins.
I like too that with the twins, they randomly use their actual names every once in a while.
Yeah.
When it was like a serious moment, you got their given names.
Right.
Let's just go ahead and hand Michael B. Jordan the Oscar right now.
It was amazing. He did a great job.
He played not one, but two amazing characters in this movie. And a lesser actor and a lesser director. That was my elbow you guys just heard. That was something. That's going to make it onto the tape. A little ASMR, old person ASMR for you there. But like a lesser actor and a director would have played both characters the same.
Or there would have been one-dimensional caricatures. To make sure that you know that they're different.
Yeah. And they do little subtle things. Like one of them wears blue, the other one wears primarily red. There's some other things that will identify them, but we can't get into that just yet. But yeah, I mean, they did such a good job of making these feel like two completely different characters. And I also want to say too that at the very beginning of the movie, now I haven't looked really into this, so I don't know what technique they used to do the whole like they're both on screen at the same time thing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different like techniques that Hollywood can use, little camera tricks and stuff like that to do it. One of them, of course, is to have a stand-in and like CGI Michael B. Jordan's face onto the other person. If they did that, I would be absolutely shocked because I don't think they did.
They did not.
Yeah. Do you know the method they used?
Yeah, I listened to an interview with Ryan Coogler, I think it was last week, and he talked about like the process he used to make the movie and having Michael B. Jordan play twins. And he said that one thing he did, he watched a lot of other movies where like one actor played twins, like the Tom Hardy movie and a couple others.
Parent Trap.
I guess, is that one? Yeah.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan and the original that was like in the 60s or 70s, so it was played by the same person.
Oh.
The girls were.
I wonder if he watched Nutty Professor.
It's possible.
Because Eddie Murphy plays like 18 characters.
Like, a shit ton of people.
In that movie.
But it was a very insightful interview. Definitely recommend you guys go check it out. But he basically said that they did something similar to actually what they did in the movie Logan with X-24.
Yeah.
Where like they did have a physical stand-in that came in, but that's mostly for reference. So, so Hugh Jackman knew where to look and exactly how to maneuver. And then so they would film the actual shot twice.
Right.
Once with Michael B. Jordan as Stack, and then there'd be a stand-in, and then they would CG out the stand-in, and then they have Michael B. Jordan as Smoke, and then the stand-in would be there for Stack, and so he was still acting with someone who really had to still act.
I assumed that they did that's what they did.
Yeah.
Because early in the movie, he's just showing off in the very first scene where you see the two of them. Because they're smoking the cigarette and they're handing it back and forth to each other. And the number one thing that if you're using any of these techniques that you don't want to happen is you do not want the two characters to interact with each other because that is wildly problematic. So when they opened up with them doing that, them interacting with each other, talking to each other, handing the cigarette back and forth, I'm like, oh, he's just showing off now. I mean,
and they did that a couple of different times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they hugged at one point.
They did.
Yeah.
They hugged at one point, and then, there were a couple of different times where they passed things back and forth between each other in one shot. And so you saw both of them hand somebody else the other one.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool.
It was truly fantastic. I mean, Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings level, attention to detail and that sort of thing.
It wasn't just that. There was attention to detail with everything in this movie, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
There was a ton of care put into this movie. So some of the other characters that we get, we talked about Beatrice a little bit. Mm-hmm. We get introduced to her, and it's we get kind of hinted at that she's into more of the supernatural element of things. I was like, you're going to be useful later for sure.
Yeah. She seems to have more ties to maybe
Hoodoo and voodoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got kind of the witch doctor kind of vibes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that was, I thought, a really cool and interesting touch there with her character. But even more than that, she was still an actual character.
Yeah.
And she has history, with one of the twins, and so that makes it even more compelling. But no, I really enjoyed her character. It's also interesting, right, the way that this whole thing shakes out, because it's pretty fortunate, because you end up having Eric Killmonger and Kate Bishop and that TVA agent, and I'm like, yeah, you guys can handle whatever happens, right? Well, speaking of Kate Bishop, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. Until I looked at it, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know that's who that was.
Oh, okay.
That's how well she acted that spot. Until I looked at the IMDb, I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, what'd you guys think of her performance here?
So which one was that? Because I don't
Mary.
know actors' names.
Oh yeah.
So Haley Steinfeld is Kate Bishop, aka the young Hawkeye, aka Mary in this movie.
Oh, that is her, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
see, yep.
Yeah, all right, I can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, I really liked her character. I liked how sassy she was, and she was very outspoken, and I appreciated that too. But then she also had a little bit of a soft side, but you didn't see it as often as I think she wanted to show it.
Yeah, I did not know she had this kind of range. Just being honest, I've always enjoyed her in the MCU, but like I said, didn't know she had this kind of range. Daredevil season 2. All right, anybody? Anybody?
That would be a good one. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that she did a tremendous job here, to the point that I didn't recognize that it was her.
Maybe just because I thoroughly enjoyed the Hawkeye show. I think I enjoyed it more than most people who saw it. But yeah, I immediately knew right off the bat, yeah, that's Haley.
I don't know anybody that didn't like that show.
Yeah, that's true.
I know some people thought it was just okay, but I mean, I don't know anybody that hated it.
Yeah. She did tremendous in this movie, I thought. And it was interesting how like they kind of the story that they had for her in this, I thought was a pretty unique one. And they were able to blend it in without it feeling too messy.
Yeah, it's a unique one, but it's also one that's real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I feel like there was a lot of that in this movie. There was a lot of things that are like, oh, but that's real.
Like the vampires.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed with all of the characters in this, I think, that they give you just a little bit, like, they give you just enough to where you feel like you really know who they are. And it's not, like, overly crazy, like the Minecraft movie, for instance, where they gave us these way more backstory for these fucking characters than we needed. Or like other, and horror movies are especially bad about this, where they're all just one-dimensional characters. You can tell who's going to die because, like, they're the only ones that have only one facet to their character.
Right.
Or if it's a Ryan Johnson movie, that's everyone, and you're not quite sure.
All right, shots fired. That was unwarranted, sir. I mean, we mentioned Sammy, but we really didn't speak a whole lot about him or his character here.
I love Sammy.
Yeah.
Sammy was amazing, and I know his character is kind of based off of Robert Johnson.
Yeah, the man who allegedly made a deal at the crossroads, right?
Yeah. So Blues is kind of like, oh, I can't talk about it now. We'll talk about it later. Because there's a part in this movie that I have to talk about that was so amazing and very much Robert Johnson, but
I gotta hear it then. Yeah.
I can't talk about it till later.
So you have to stick around to the spoiler part for that, folks.
You see, Kel, how she refrained from spoiling something that was no reason I'm pointing that out. I'm just observation there. Just
like, oh hey, I bring on really good guests that don't spoil things. That's what you're pointing out?
Oh, okay. That was a nice flip.
Yeah.
It was a nice flip. And I'm not sure if that was also supposed to be a shot at me. Because technically I brought you on.
Well, you brought me on as a guest. I was technically the co-host, which is, of course, ordained by the committee.
Of course. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which it turns out is just Kevin.
Shit. What's interesting about this movie is that I can see people having a problem with the pacing, but I think that if you go into this movie blind and you don't really know what this is about, I don't think the pacing is an issue because the story actually moves along at quite a brisk pace, like at a pretty steady rate. But if you're waiting for a certain shoe to drop, then I can understand if certain people may get impatient with it.
I totally think if you come into this going, I really want to see a vampire movie, you are probably going to leave before any vampires show up. I went into this like completely blind. Like I had seen the very first teaser trailer, and I think that's all you had seen too, right?
Yeah,
was that one trailer?
Because you asked me if I wanted to come, and I was like, I don't know. Let me look this up, and then I about had a heart attack, and I was like, yeah, sign me up. Because I knew from the preview that it was going to be about Robert Johnson, and just listening to the music in the preview, I was like, yeah, I gotta watch this.
Based on that first like teaser trailer that we got, all we really knew is that there was going to be like a sort of a supernatural element to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I mean, I had kind of heard that, Ryan Coogler was doing a vampire movie, but I really didn't put two and two together until it happened, So yeah, I would say that if you're like, oh my God, I love vampire movies, and so I'm going to go see this one, I don't know that this is necessarily the movie for you, but if you just come into it with, I'd say, no expectations, you're going to walk out loving it because, like, I thought it was paced very well, The only time I really looked at my phone to check the time was to be like, how long have you been in here? Not because I wasn't, like, thoroughly entertained, because I was like, has it been 5 minutes? Has it been 50 minutes? I don't know. I've just been enthralled with this story. I don't know what's going to happen. The fucking credits could roll right now, and I'd be like, okay, that was pretty good.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the theme of it all, right? Because like with the twins especially, they have an objective. You know, we know why, you know, they came back to Mississippi, and we know what they're doing. And so we're like, okay, well, this is what they're going to do, and there could be some obstacles that maybe prevent them, and that could be a whole movie on its own.
Right, yeah.
You know? and I mean, there are obstacles.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say.
It's just so happens that the obstacles, you know, are a little out of the ordinary, maybe, and then there are more real obstacles as well. And so, it's just one of those things where it's like the supernatural thing is more of like a flavor to it, more so than like the main driving factor of it.
And that's blues.
Wow.
Huh.
Blues is steeped in like supernatural and history, but it's like this combination. It takes lore and makes you feel it.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, Kay. There was a documentary that came out on Netflix. This was maybe 4 or 5 years ago where I watched this, but it was on the same guy who Sammy was based on, and it was a fascinating documentary. I mean, I guess for sake of spoilers, I won't say too much about it here, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool documentary, and like a look at it was kind of like a look at the history of blues. Mm-hmm. The thing that drew me into it though, where they were like, you know, did he really, you know, make this deal with you know, with whoever at this particular point? And I was like, did he? And spoiler alert, like, you know, they're like, well, you know, chances are no, but but by that point, I was already hooked on the doc.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I'll have to look that up. It sounds very interesting.
It was.
This is one of the few movies ever that we can't necessarily talk about the soundtrack in the spoiler-free section because it's so ingrained into the movie.
Yeah, I was going to be like, I could tell you, I can info dump about Robert Johnson all day long, but you probably don't want me to do that right now because it ties into the plot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can say this. I thought the score was fantastic here.
Yes.
And it's such a huge part of this movie.
Yeah, and you didn't just have Robert Johnson, you also had like other big blues people. It was like amazing. And I was like, hey, I think I know that melody. And then I had to look it up in the car and I'm like, yes, I did know that melody. So it just, I don't know. It was really nice. It made me happy. Wow, it's crazy.
Have either of you seen the Elvis movie that has what's his name from Dune in it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's right, we watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen it. The Bass, what's the name of the guy who that
Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
It's a good watch. It honestly, there are portions of it that are very similar to portions of this.
Mm-hmm.
And there was quite a few times that I kind of got similar vibes. Although, you know, Elvis was a little later than this. He's like, you know, just one decade later than this.
So, okay, never mind. I'll talk about it later.
Okay.
There is also quite a bit of action that we get in this movie. What you guys think about that? How you think that played out pretty decently?
I thought that it played out decently, but it also showed vulnerability. Mm. There was a lot of, you know, he's being badass, but he also, you know, a well-placed punch is going to take him down.
Right.
It wasn't like anybody was really invincible, so that was kind of cool. Like even your monsters side.
Yeah.
They had weaknesses. So that was nice. I like flaws. Flaws are fun.
I agree.
Yeah, there's no plot armor in this.
No.
No one has it. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so good is like that no matter how like badass your character might be or not be, you know, depending on what you're facing, you might still be fucked.
Yeah.
And I really love that about the movie. I think it adds a whole depth to it. One of the things that's always bothered me about like the slasher genre in general is like it gets to a point where it's like, okay, if you're not going to take this seriously, how am I supposed to take it seriously? Mm-hmm. You know, like the fact that like the killer always like slow walks everywhere, or
and then
you know,
what they call it slashportation.
Yeah. And I'm just like, you know, the whole point of you trying to bring me into this world to feel this like fear is that you have to make there be some realism to it, you know. I mean, unless you're a little kid, in which case anything works on them, right?
Yeah.
Candyman scared the fuck out of me when I was a kid.
He still scares the fuck out of me, but that's a different story. I was traumatized.
That's fair. It was the wolf in Never Ending Story for me.
That thing was also terrifying, and it wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, that wolf scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah, and again, that scares the shit out of me as an adult.
But the Donatello second mouth only scared you as an adult.
Because I couldn't see it as a kid.
So in the labyrinth, there are these little guys that take their heads off and like they throw them towards each other and they put their heads back on. Those guys creeped me out when I was a kid. I hated them.
That's kind of like the motorcycle Transformers.
I was thinking that, yeah.
There's a scene in the Transformers cartoon. It's terrible. Don't watch it. But like, it's a dude on a motorcycle.
A transformer.
Right? It's a transformer on a motorcycle, and they like wreck. Mm-hmm. They wreck, and the motorcycle transforms into a dude, and the dude transforms into a motorcycle, and then he gets back on, and they keep going. And, like, it fucked with us so bad that we, like, stopped it. And we were all, like, everyone looks at each other like, okay, we all just experienced the same. Okay. And then we had to, like, rerun it and watch it again.
Yeah, that shit blew my mind.
I'm still not sure, really, what happened. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's like there was a glitch in the Matrix.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
I felt like we were experiencing something that we weren't supposed to. Real quick, we'll get back on track here. I don't know if I ever said this to you guys. I was so traumatized by Candyman as a kid that, like, my dad said, all right, that's enough of this shit. And he grabbed me and dragged me into the bathroom. And then everyone knows, like, there's a mirror in the bathroom. You know? Closed the door. And had the audacity, you know, to say Candyman's name 5 times. And I'm like, I felt like, you know, the guy in every horror movie, like, you know, no, you kill us all, you fool. You know, that was me. We made it out. But my protest probably had something to do with it. Yeah.
I'll be honest. Your dad saying that shit in the mirror 5 times. Was it dark? Did he cut the lights?
I don't remember.
You done trauma deleted that shit. Yeah. Honestly, that'd be creepy as fuck. I think I'd be terrified too. So we talked about this in the Ninja Turtles review, is that in the Ninja Turtles movie, when they bring Shredder out, they ring a gong to announce his arrival. And when I was a little kid, I thought, similar to like the Candyman thing, that if you rang a gong, you had a chance to summon Shredder. And so I never wanted to be around a gong. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. It's just logic.
Yeah.
Simple logic.
Yeah, when I was like 5, worst thing that could happen. Fortunately, there aren't a lot of gongs in our society.
That's fair.
It's like the quicksand. I was relatively safe.
So I watched The Borrowers, and therefore I thought that little people lived in the red lights, and that's how they changed colors.
Whoa.
Huh. They're doing a terrible job.
They really are. I could be waiting at a light for way too long. Like, wake up.
Yeah. Those guys fucking suck.
This movie, back to Sinners.
Yeah. Yeah.
It, for me, I could feel like it took parts from, like, other movies in the genre and kind of, like, either did its own thing or in some cases, like, did it better. I think, like, one case in point, like, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
You know, that movie is not good. It still holds a place in my heart. I mean, besides Selma Hayek, like, it still holds a place in my heart other than that. But, like, the thing about From Dusk Till Dawn is that it starts off as a pretty interesting movie about these 2 brothers who are murderers and robbers.
Is it called Two Brothers?
It's just 2 brothers, and they're trying to get away from the federales, and they end up, you know, kidnapping essentially this other family to get them to transport them to where they need to be. And, you know, that movie premise on its own is actually pretty solid, especially when you look at, like, George Clooney's performance with, like, the father figure in the movie. It was actually pretty intriguing. And then, you get to the titty twister. I think that's the name of the bar they go to. And it becomes something completely fucking different. and as a kid, I'm like, oh, this is fucking amazing. And, as an adult, because I watched it like 10 years ago, and I'm like you said, Caleb, like, okay, if y'all not going to take this serious, then it becomes just like the most ridiculous vampire movie ever. But the fact that they pulled the wool over everyone's eyes into tricking you to think that it's one thing and then it ends up being something different, I feel that like Sinners, it doesn't have the same, it's not shrouded in mystery the same way because of the way that movies are today in Hollywood is, like by the time we got like the second official trailer, like they had let word out that, hey, this is what this movie is. But still, there's a lot of people I imagine who don't really know. And, you can watch this movie and think it's going to go one way and then it goes a completely different way.
So you did or didn't know it was going to be an antebellum vampire musical?
So I knew there was going to be music in it.
Okay.
Right? I didn't know, like, to this extent.
See, that was me, too. I thought there was going to be music in it. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was going to be a musical. It's a musical.
Yeah, I got to say, like, obviously, I could hear the argument that maybe this isn't a musical, but, like, it's a fucking musical, yo. I mean, granted, like, not all of it. Like, it's definitely not a sing-through. Some people don't understand the difference. Like a sing-through is like just where the whole movie is music, and they just go from song to song. Obviously, there's not that. There's a
Cats, Rent.
Yeah,
those are sing-throughs.
Yeah, like I'd say 80% of this movie, there's not an active like song going, but I'd still classify it as a musical.
Okay, you guys know more about musicals than I do, so I could be completely off basis here, but I feel like this movie uses music as a part of the plot, but none of the characters are actively singing the plot.
Well, like that's not the case in like Wonka, and
I don't
really.
Know that. What do they sing about in Wonka? Chocolate? Goddamn chocolate?
They sing about chocolate a few times in Wonka, yeah. But I mean, the like acting to music ratio is about the same as this movie in the...
Yeah, but Wonka does have the whole Scrub song, and that takes it away from what he's saying.
That's true.
Because there's no reason for the story for that song.
That's true. Yeah. And I would say that characters don't just break out into song here, but that's not true. And sometimes it is relevant to the plot. I can't really talk about it right now, but... yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that this is a musical. I would say it's on the lighter end of a musical. It doesn't have, like, the amount of music that, like, Wicked has in it or, like, Mean Girls. But, I mean, as far as, like, how much is, like, singing and how much is just your typical cinema, I'd say the ratio is pretty close to Wonka.
Yeah.
Well...
The Timothée Chalamet one.
Yeah.
To be specific.
Yeah. And with Mean Girls, she was specifically referring to the musical.
Yes. Yes, the vastly superior musical. Come at me.
It's so good.
Speaking of people coming at you, man, like, I always tend to post clips. I post in ghosts is what I say.
Oh, God, what have you posted about me now?
Nothing that you haven't said.
Oh, yeah, I mean, definitely.
But I don't think there's anything bad this time, right? Like I typically just post and then I don't really, I go to work and then I don't really think about it. And I damn near ignore TikTok completely. But there's quite a bit of traction on there. It was something about Star Wars you said the other day. They really had people in a tizzy.
Oh no. It wasn't my racist grandma keeping me from watching Mulan as a kid.
They didn't care about that.
They didn't care about that. Yeah. But one of my Star Wars opinions, this tracks.
Yeah, that caused quite the discourse. There's something about Return of the Jedi and Ewoks, and yeah, it was something about that they were talking about.
You hated on Ewoks?
I didn't do that. I talked about how Lawrence Kasdan was heavily involved in the creation of episodes 4 and 5, and then in episode 6, George Lucas just kind of did whatever he wanted, which is how we end up on the teddy bear moon for...
Yeah, they're still going on about it.
Okay. All right. See, I love Ewoks, okay? It can be a
Oh, God!
Yeah, it's a whole...
Oh, no! Oh, no! What platform platform is that on? Is that
TikTok.
TikTok.
That's on TikTok?
I
Oh,
have to
shit.
go find this.
Yeah, me too. Oh, God.
Yeah.
So I actually just got a new cosplay and I'm very excited about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
The hair is a bit of an indicator.
Yeah, okay, so I was testing the braids. I got Leia's outfit for when she's with the Ewoks.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and
Tell me Caleb's gonna be an Ewok.
he won't, so I'm gonna have to take my teddy bear Ewok that I have.
Well, that'd be just as good.
Yeah, and my teddy bear Ewok is from when the movies came out. It's vintage.
Really?
Yeah, I found it at an antique shop, and I paid like $40 for it,
Oh, that's amazing.
but it was worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, everyone's not pissed. There's just a lot. It sparked quite a bit of conversation.
yeah. So at MomoCon, I'm gonna be Leia. I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna test it out fully next week though, because me and Oz are gonna go see episode 4 at the Miller, and they're gonna be performing. There'll be an orchestra that's gonna play the music.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
So you're
Yeah.
gonna feel the
Yes.
music, and I'm just like, I'm so excited about it.
Okay, I have to read this one. Sorry, folks. The homie Jake here says, sorry, they're savages, not teddy bears. They were going to eat Han, Luke, and Chewie. Fucking A.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Listen, I think the Ewoks are cool. I understand that they're like a fucking dangerous, kind of savage tribe of people.
They were gonna nom everybody there.
They were going to cook them alive and eat them. Yeah, I mean, you know. But hey, you know
But then
what?
they met their god.
Right. But hey, you know what? And their god is like a fucking metrosexual translator droid.
Yeah, but I think Leia would have been safe though. I think so. I think Leia would have been okay.
Only they can smell the cocaine in Carrie Fisher's blood, and they were like, "We don't need this."
Fucking
Terrible. That's so terrible. How could you?
We've seen the holiday special, okay?
I haven't. I never want to.
Did Anakin design 3PO so that did he know what an Ewok was and design 3PO to be like a godlike entity?
That's really forward thinking.
It really is. Okay, all right. Back to Sinners
Back to
here.
Sinners. I think we're about ready to score this thing and get on to some spoilers.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're about. Listen, go see the movie. If the Rotten Tomatoes and the Metacritic scores don't tell you that you want to go see it, go see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, agreed. I think that Sinners is a real big breath of fresh air. It's a rejuvenation on a couple of different genre pieces. I love the setting, and I love that we're like in this kind of Jim Crow era. And, this movie is not so heavy-handed, right? Because I know a lot of people don't like the super heavy-handed messages or whatnot. But I thought that this movie just did such a tremendous job presenting, like, just the reality that people lived in back then. And, hell, to a degree still today. And then they added, like, this other flavor on top of it as well that just really kind of makes the whole movie pop even more. You combine all that with the use of storytelling through the music, and you just have a really tremendous movie here. It's to the point where it's like, it's just like having a multi-layer cake, and each layer is like a different flavor, but all flavors kind of work well and taste good together. I had a great time here with this movie. I thought that the cast did an amazing job. Again, the music is top notch, and like the way that this thing is shot is just gorgeous. I'm gonna give it a 9.4 out of 10.
Sounds good. Yeah, I gotta say that it's not just the music either. It's like the music and also the sound in general are so important to this movie. And honestly, this is always a compliment. It really reminds me of Interstellar as to how important the sound is to the movie. Now, if in Interstellar they had randomly busted out into like astrophysics songs, I think that might somehow make it a better movie. Just because I really, really want to see a cut of that now. maybe we can get an Interstellar like space musical
with Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I mean, duh. Like, why would you even suggest?
The little spinny robots could do dance numbers.
Yes, of course. Tars and I can't remember the other one's name is. Tars and the other one. But he was the better robot, so I remember his name. But so I really enjoyed this movie. I think that it subverts expectations in a good way, which we don't get to see a lot of. I think that it improves upon the techniques of several different genres, and at the same time, it's kind of a genre all to its own. I mean, it's crazy after all of these decades of making movies that a movie like this could come out and be its own, like, really unique thing. You would have a hard time slotting this movie into any specific genre and go, oh, well, it's just like a different version of this movie, you know? That shit does not exist. Really enjoyed this. The cast, the soundtrack, the directing. One of the things that Ryan Coogler used in this movie a lot, and I noticed this early on, is called a tracking shot. And this is where it's kind of the opposite of how like a third-person video game where, you know, the camera like follows your character around, but you can see your character. A tracking shot is a film technique where the character follows the camera. Like they walk, and obviously in the character's mind, they're doing whatever they were going to do anyway. But the camera is in front of them, and we get to actually see the person and the setting around them. And he used that technique a lot in this movie, and I really enjoyed that as well. I thought that it was an interesting way to both let the actors act and also focus on the scenery and the setting, which were incredible. I'm going to give this a 9.6 out of 10.
Oh. So what is the point factor? How do y'all decide that?
It's really just based off of what we've scored other things.
It's just your soul, your spirit. That's what decides the point.
There could be little things too. Like I feel like the movie could have been maybe a hair shorter, you know. And for me, like I always view like the 0.5s as like the big points, you know.
Okay.
Like a straight 0, like an 8, and then like there's minor things they could do in between to get to like 8.5. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Yeah. And so like with this being a 9.4, like it's right there in the precipice. And then once you hit like, 9 territory, you're flirting with greatness.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fair. Yeah. Well, I really like this movie because of the music. The music was like really good. And I very much enjoyed this flavor of vampires. So that was also really nice to see sound and what I read kind of blend. It was nice. So, I don't know. I guess I'll do 9.5 just because.
Just to squeeze in the center.
Yeah, I'm in the middle.
This has got to be the average.
Yeah. Sure.
While we mosey on to the spoiler filled section, this is a good time to ask Kay, is there any movie that you would consider to be like a 10?
A 10? Mm-hmm. Oh. I don't know. I probably could have come up with something if you hadn't asked me.
That's how that goes.
We're going to be doing a Perfect Tens episode soon.
Oh, yeah.
Someday when we have a free time to do it, but it's going to be like movies, even we're probably going to have to throw books and comics in there too, but like movies, TV episodes, or seasons, or it's going to be like a things we would consider a perfect 10, like what would make a perfect 10.
Yeah.
So
I think I could tell you more so in books than I could in movies, because I like movies, but I'm more of a reader and I listen to music more. So
what books do you have?
Way of Kings.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew that was coming. I was like, oh well, here we go. Way of Kings.
Way of Kings is it's gonna be up there for me. Yumi and the Nightmare Painter is gonna be another one. Lost World. I love Lost World.
The Michael Crichton novel that the movie is not based on.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read that work, but when you said Lost World, I was like, really?
The book is wildly different.
Is wildly different. It's way different. And obviously, like Lord of the Rings, so because those books shaped me as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I mean, honestly, that trilogy is probably also a 10 for me, like, as a whole. Mm-hmm. If not, then Two Towers by itself, you know. Mm-hmm. So
Two Towers is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two Towers is the only one that, like, the theatrical cut is acceptable, even though, you know, it's still the inferior cut.
That is true, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Faux show. Have we bullshitted?
I think we have bullshitted.
Can we go into the spoilers?
Let's go and talk about some spoilers here.
Fuck yes, Antebellum Vampire Musical spoiler section.
So if you are still here, that means you are A-okay with spoilers for the movie Sinners. That's been your warning.
It helps your anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's just rip the Band-Aid off here. The vampires fucking sing. And the more vampires you turn, the more vampires you add to your musical performance.
The creepier it gets.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it was such, like, I think I would have not liked that had it not been such an effective tool for the horror of the movie.
It really was. And the way, too, when they were singing and kind of, like, doing that circle, you would catch the glint of their eyes.
Yes.
That was top tier amazing to me. You would catch a glint, you would see a fang, but then they would move.
Right.
And they would be gone. And then, it was just, that was very creepy.
We could not really talk about this character at all in the spoiler-free section, but what do you guys think of Remick, who is the big bad here?
They got... Who played him?
A guy named Jack O'Connell.
That name sounds familiar. Maybe it's just the O'Connell that sounds familiar.
I'll be honest. In the very beginning, I actually thought, like, when they first showed him, I thought it was the dude who plays Ramsay Bolton.
Oh!
Because they look similar. But then, as soon as he, like, you could really see him in the light, I was like, oh, no, that's not him. But
okay, so one thing that I really liked about him was when we first meet him, he doesn't really have his Irish accent.
Yeah.
Yep.
The more vampire he becomes, the thicker his Irish accent is.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
That was an interesting touch they did there.
Yeah, it was like, it took him back to who he was, and so not who he was pretending to be.
Right.
And I really enjoyed that.
He was extremely charismatic.
He was very charismatic.
Yeah.
The only thing that he's been in that I've ever seen is the second 300 movie.
Oh, wow.
And he plays like a Callisto. I don't even remember who that is.
Me either.
So, yeah.
But he's great in this movie.
Yeah. I was not expecting a river dancing vampire while he is singing, but it was amazing.
And for it to be so menacing.
Yeah, he's an evil vampire Irish river dancing bard lord.
Which, when you put it all together, sounds like, what the fuck?
It sounds like your problematic player's D&D character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it really works here. And I also like the fact, too, that it was the 1930s, and so you did see, like, poor Irish guy. Mm-hmm. That was a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work now.
No, it wouldn't work now, but it worked then. Mm-hmm. And it made sense why he was in that part of the world.
Yeah, people would be like, oh, I seen Peaky Blinders. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also makes sense, too, when he was trying to be more human, that he hid his accent.
Right.
Because Irish was not a good thing to be in the 30s. It's why when my great-grandfather came over here in the 30s, he changed the spelling of our last name so that it did not look as Irish. And he didn't want to have really any ties. And so that's why I don't really know much about my heritage in Ireland, because he wanted to cut everything off. He wanted to start fresh.
Shit, the more you know.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fucking racism back in this era. And I mean, honestly, they're in the Jim Crow South here in Mississippi. So I mean, for the most part, like you have like our main cast of characters, and then like the Irish people would have been just slightly above them, still hated.
Yeah, still hated, just above. But it made sense why he would be there. He wasn't out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys are creepy as shit.
Yeah, he was extremely creepy. But man, he was a very effective, like, vampire leader type dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. I feel like if they had challenged him to a rock off, he probably would have accepted.
I think he would.
But then you have to beat him, and I don't know.
I mean,
he was really good.
He was really good. I think Sammy might. I mean,
Sammy might have, but Sammy would have had to done that performance safely inside his little boundary.
yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have gotten lost. But I did think that it was really cool on why he wanted Sammy.
Yeah.
Was so that he could have his music.
Right.
I mean, honestly, if you're gonna succumb to an evil vampire lord, right? There are worse ones than this guy, because he literally just wants to jam out forever. That's pretty much all he wants. Like, I mean, but literally forever.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
And he just wanted family.
Yeah.
You know, I think the thing though that the movie does subtly hint at is like it's always going to be half truths.
Yeah.
And so, like, he's presenting a good case, but, man, he's not telling you the other side of the coin, you know?
Right.
And, you know, so that part is also, like, really intriguing, too, especially when you juxtapose it with Sam's dad talking about don't be lured by the temptations.
Yeah, so in the early 1930s, when blues just started coming around, blues was not accepted even by, like, black people in general. Like, it was seen to be of the devil, which is one of the reasons why devil is so tied into it, was because these people were playing music in a way that the churches did not like, even if they were, family, like Sam's dad. So it was very interesting to actually see that played out, where there was that divide, even on people's, like, should be, you think, all on one page. They were not. And so that divide was pleasant to see, because this is the first movie I've seen that. And I appreciated it.
Yeah, and that is a really cool and subtle distinction that they put that in this movie. And, you know, it kind of adds up, right? Because, you know, like, rock is a subset of blues.
So Robert Johnson... Okay, this is the part that I really want to talk about. Okay, so Robert Johnson is actually considered to be the backbone of rock and roll. If you listen to music now, you can hear pieces of his music, which is why when he was singing that song that attracted the vampires, they had all those different generations.
Right.
Because it transcended time, which is what his music did. His music transcended time. There's still references to it in our music now. And we wouldn't have had that without him. And so to see that moment where you saw what came before,
yes,
and then you see what's coming ahead, unless you know about blues and Robert Johnson and Tommy Johnson, you're not going to completely, I feel, understand the power of that scene. You're just going to be like, why is this dude over here? But it was really an interesting blending of cultures that I think really brings blues together, and that visually was like one of the best ways that I've seen it depicted. So that was cool.
I definitely want to talk about that scene, because to me it's the best part of the movie probably. You get this incredibly long scene. Like, there's a lot of build up to, like, when is Sammy gonna play at, and you get to see him kind of play around a little bit, but like the actual moment the movie, like the first half of the movie is building to, is when he's actually gonna play at the what do they call it, the Juke House? Is that what they call
Club
it?
Juke.
Club Juke.
When he, it's the opening night and he's gonna play a song for everybody, and they do all this build up to it. And, like, when it actually happens, they kind of reiterate some of the more important scenes from earlier in the movie, where they talked about how, you know, they had the power to bridge like time and like, you know, bring people together and all that stuff in different genres and everything. But what I thought was very interesting is at the beginning of the movie, they talk about how like that also could attract evil, right? And the evil was drawn to it. But in the middle of the movie, when they play that same voiceover back again, they leave that part off because you're about to see it.
That's true.
And
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
that is good.
I thought that was so effective. And this ridiculously long shot that they do throughout the club as this is going on was incredible. I can't imagine.
And they put like burning the house down in there.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine how many takes like that had to be.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, you had dancers and not just like, you know, people just boogieing. Like you had a ballet dancer in there, and there was I think a geisha dancing, and
There was a break dancer in there.
there was some tribal dances.
Yeah, tribal dancers.
Had a girl twerking.
From like yeah.
You had a Lenny Kravitz stand in. I don't know if that's like who it was supposed to be, but we all knew.
Like you had all of these different walks of life that came together, and it was this wonderful like moment. I just really enjoyed it.
It was a great moment, and it was a great shot. You know, like you said, Caleb, because like the camera just kind of pans all around and follows certain characters, and then it looks like the roof is on fire, and like he burned the house down. You know,
Yeah.
and then you know like the kind of the end of the shot is we see like the vampires on the outside, and this is what they see. You know, it was just it was a really cool shot with a lot of passion behind it.
When we first see Remick, he is running from somebody, and he's getting burned by the sun, which is never a good thing, right? If you see somebody like literally searing immediately, probably shouldn't trust him. And he runs up to this house, and this couple answers the door, and he sees that the guy has a Klan hood in there. And I'm like, okay, well, this was not an immediate turnoff. This is probably a bad person. But he plays on their racism. And he's like, oh, yeah, these engines are chasing me, you know, don't let them get me. And he's like, I've got a little bit of money. They robbed me, but they didn't get everything. And this is where he has the gold coins. And there's two kind of aspects to the whole vampirism thing here, where it's like, number one is if you're like, don't accept the money, right? And then there's also the like whole you have to let them into your house thing. And I think that the gold coins is still like somewhat a religious reference. It's kind of a reference to like Judas's coins.
Oh, no doubt.
You know, with basically the money is the root of all evil kind of.
Yeah, once
scenario.
they accepted the money, they were dead.
Yeah. And then they let him in the house, and very quickly we learn, oh, this motherfucker's a vampire. And what we didn't know at the time is that he was part of his vampire lord powers is that he instills his thralls with the ability to get down.
Yes, that part.
Because I have a feeling that these racist white people couldn't sing like that.
Yeah, I doubt it
Beforehand.
Because I was thinking like, man, unless in those few hours he taught them, okay, so this is the dance steps, this is the number. Hey, get it right from the top, all right. Unless he just spent a few hours teaching them that, I think they just kind of come pre-installed with it from their vampire pack.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is, right? Yeah. Blade would hesitate before he killed them. He still killed them, but he hesitated for a
He'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. This is a new one. Yeah.
So the movie is also in Clarksdale, Mississippi, which I'm pretty sure is where Robert Johnson was born.
Oh.
So that was cool. He was born in 1911.
Sheesh.
And he died in 1938. He was the first member of the 27 Club.
Oh, that's right. He was. I remember that from the doc. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
So there are
Bit of lore.
a lot of things that happened, not necessarily to Sammy's character, but to other characters in the movie that were, I feel, references to Robert Johnson's life. So he lived in Mississippi, but his dad was a black landowner, and so that's not a good thing in a racist county. And so he left and he went to Tennessee, and that's where he fell in love with music. Well, when he became a teenager, his dad sent him back home to live with his mom. Stepdad didn't like him. Mom told him that his dad wasn't his actual bio dad, and he had to change the last name. So that's how he became Robert Johnson.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of info all at once for this youngin'. But he ends up getting married really young. His wife and his child died in childbirth, which, to me, was a reference to Stack's character.
Yeah.
And
it was the smoke, actually.
It was smoke.
It was smoke. Yeah, the baby dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they left her
Right.
her life, so that was nice. But yeah, I think the child being dead was a reference to him. The fact too that Sammy is a sharecropper, that was another thing, because Robert's family was a sharecropper.
Huh. Man, yeah, we got the right person on for this one.
Yeah, so Robert was married twice. So the first time his wife died, he kind of went into a spiral and he latched on to music, but he wasn't playing the guitar yet. He was just playing harmonica, which brings in Slim.
Yep.
And he tried, but he wasn't that great. So he tried to start playing the guitar, but he kept getting laughed off stage at Jukes. And so he disappeared for 3 years.
Yes.
The twins disappeared for 7 years.
Right.
When he comes back, he is amazing at the guitar. And they're like, oh, the only way he could get this is if he made a deal with the devil.
Didn't he kind of just feed into it as well?
He did feed into it. What really happened was he learned how to play by a guy named Ike Zimmerman. And he taught him in a cemetery because the dead don't care if you're good.
Man.
And so he taught him how to play. And when everybody was like, oh, you just made a deal with the devil, he leaned into it because there's a story there.
Right.
And you latch onto it and you roll with it, you know? So he did. And he recorded 29 songs in 2 sessions, and that is the body of his work. So modern rock and roll, modern music was built off of 29 songs from a hotel room.
That's madness.
That is. That's pretty incredible.
Which is why I felt like that whole dance scene was even more impactful, because it just came from 29 songs.
Yeah.
And we're still honoring that now, and it's kind of crazy that people don't know that right away.
Right. That's awesome.
Now, when he, so we kind of get like, I feel like one of the twins a little bit. He did become a little bit of a man whore because he got married again, and this time his wife died again. Don't know how his wife died this time, but she did. And that sent him in another spiral. And so he kind of like, stayed with women, didn't, slept around a whole lot. Well, kind of have his relationship with his childhood friend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he had that relationship with his wife, but she had died, and so that sent him down a path to where now he just wasn't doing right. He kind of became a criminal.
Well, damn.
Wasn't doing right. What actually happened to him and how he died, people say that he just dropped dead, and that was the devil coming back and claiming his soul.
Right.
What really happened was he slept with a bartender's wife, and he poisoned him.
Oh.
I mean, can't fuck with a bartender.
Nah, especially don't fuck with a man who's making your food or giving you drinks. Don't do it. But he did. He slept with his wife, and that's why he died. But they didn't put that on his death certificate. So even his death certificate is still, seeped in lore of, the devil came back and claimed his soul because his time was up. Which therein goes to, Supernatural and TV shows like that, because they they feed on that. Your deal is only good for 10 years, which is about how long he had before he died. So there's a lot of layers of things that come back that started with him and Tommy Johnson. Tommy Johnson is another blues singer who...
No relation.
No relation. Yeah, definitely not related. But he straight up told everybody, yeah, I made a deal with the devil. He didn't. Whereas Robert Johnson was a little bit like, oh yeah, I'm going to write a song about this. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Tommy Johnson was like, oh yeah, I did. I fucking did that. And he owned that shit.
Yeah.
But he was, I think, good, but Robert Johnson was way better. He also was the first person who had a 7-string guitar.
Oh.
Yeah. When he came back from his disappearance for 3 years, he had added a string to his guitar. He could play 2 different melodies at once.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I can't do 2 of anything at once, so he's got me beat.
Yeah, the honestly, the skill I think that this movie was put together with. I mean, we were talking about it. I think it was yesterday. We record a lot now, and about how like Ryan Coogler as a director is very slept on. I think Wakanda Forever is his worst movie, and it's a great movie. So yeah, I mean that's crazy. That's quite the accolade.
Yeah, taking all those different things and then putting them not just on one character but on other characters, like that was really, really insightful and thoughtful. And I was like, oh, I see what you're doing and I like it.
He found a way to cast Michael B. Jordan twice in the same movie.
He did.
I thought that the twins as characters, like their whole arc was amazing, you know, and I while we didn't necessarily see a situation where any of the characters, you know, made a deal with the devil per se, that's kind of what they did in a way, because the whole reason they were able to come back here and do all this is because they robbed the Irish and I think this is the Italians.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And blamed it on the others, and then they made off with all the money and everything. And so in a way, I mean, they didn't come by that money honestly. So that is in a way kind of, you know, you're inviting that bad juju on yourself, essentially. And when I also love that when Smoke comes back to Beatrice and she's like, you know, he's just like, I've been all over the world. I've never seen any of this stuff. And she's like, well, what makes you think I haven't done everything that I learned to protect you? And she asked if he still has the, was it a mojo?
The mojo bag.
The mojo bag. And he's like, yeah, and I guess she like renews the protection on it.
So yeah, as someone who kind of understands witchcraft too, like she created a circle when she was doing that. She closed the circle and then she renewed the energy that was inside it by giving libations, which was really cool to me too, because that was like true hoodoo right there. And it was very interesting that they respected that as well. It wasn't just the music, it was also the history and the religion that they respected, and that was cool.
Yeah, I loved that his brother couldn't bite him because of it. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
But also, the other thing, at the end of the movie, when the racists show up to kill him, they don't show up until he takes it off. When he sits down and like pulls the gun out and everything, he snatches it off, and like right after that, they roll up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
That is a really good point.
Yeah.
I think that one of the reasons, because he asked why this didn't work for the baby, and she said, I don't know. I think the reason why was she didn't have a reason yet. After they lost that baby, she didn't want to lose him too. And so that raw feeling that she had of I want to protect him even if he's not with me, it went into that. And a mojo bag holds a spirit. And so you're not supposed to open it. Mojo bags, if you open it, the spirit leaves, and everything that has been done to make the protection spell will go away. And so the fact too that his mojo bag was still closed and he never took it off, it just kept this little spirit inside. And I think, to me, I like to think maybe there was a part of like her and the child.
Yeah.
emotionally in that. And so I liked it too at the end when he took the bag off and, you know, he's basically dying.
Yeah.
And he sees them. And so I felt like that was also like a really big, special moment.
Yeah. Yeah, he sees Beatrice and you know, their child, and then he snaps out of it to just finish murdering the Klansman.
Yeah, he was like, "You messing up with my happiness, man."
Yeah. I'm having a moment over here. Yeah.
Let me hug my baby.
Yeah, that whole thing was hilarious. In a great way.
Yes.
I love the kind of the fates of our characters where like you know, Smoke, obviously he was kind of the more protected brother, and so like we get the whole thing where, you know, Stack was more the badass or whatever, even though you really didn't mess with either of them,
right?
Stack was the like more protective brother, and which is why he ended up sending Smoke with Sammy, right? Or sent Sammy with Smoke, rather.
Yeah.
Both. But, you know, he knew he could take care of himself and the two of them together. Yeah, and that whole thing with, like, Stack just wanted to be able to protect Smoke. Well, Smoke dies.
Yeah.
You know? And Smoke's whole thing, you know, is he lost the baby or whatever, and he got to go and be with Beatrice and the baby. And I thought that was all really poetic, too. And then, you know, the thing that Sammy wanted, you know, he was like really like the sole survivor, and he got the thing he wanted, which was to continue to play music, you know, be in front of crowds and everything. And I love the post-credit scene where, you know, Mary and Stack come back to visit him after all these years.
1992.
Yeah.
Sammy's made it, you know, he's
and in Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago, yeah.
And Stack's like, you don't have long. And he's like, I think I've seen enough of this place. You know, he offers them immortality.
What's also interesting is that, like, the first thing that Sammy does is he asks, how? Like, how are you still here? And Stack tells him, he couldn't kill me. You know, he could have, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It's cool because Remick has like a complete control over his thralls here, and once Sammy kills him, well, I guess Sammy and Smoke kill him. Once they kill him, after that they're still vampires, but they kind of don't have a leader. Like they kind of have their own kind of free will, which is why Stack and Mary, you know, aren't these crazy, creepy, bloodthirsty. I mean, I'm sure they're still feeding.
They're probably still killing people.
You know. Also, in this sort of version of vampires, like in most versions of being a vampire, you can feed on someone without turning them. But in this version, it's like no condom, like. Yeah. Full tilt, you're making a thrall every time. Like, fuck that. I don't have to deal with all these crazy ass vampires.
Right.
It's like, I did not sign up for a baby.
Yeah, no. Yeah, your first command, walk into the sun. Yeah. All right.
And we're done. Okay.
And we're done.
I could see that's what he got by after that. Yeah. He probably was just like,
Yeah, they probably just found some, like, helpless person that two of them just devoured.
You know, also, like Mary and Stack, that must be real love to be with someone for that goddamn long.
Yeah.
I like, hey, listen, how about for like the next 50 years, you go your own way, I'll go mine. Then like in 2013, we'll meet up at wherever, you know. Like we don't have to do this whole eternity thing.
Well, you got to think. Well, we don't know that they didn't do that.
That's true.
Because you got to think, like, for one, everybody that you know pretty shortly is going to be dead, except for the other person. It's going to probably be hard to find vampire clubs for a while. And then by the time there are vampire clubs, there's going to be Blade. So so you still don't want to go to the vampire club.
Yeah. That is true. That movie terrified the shit out of them, I bet.
Oh yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Oh shit. Yeah, no, I really like that mid credit scene that we got though. It was cool because like it kind of felt like it. I mean, the movie technically played while the credits were rolling, and then we got that scene.
Yeah.
But man, like I would hate, for people who have watched the movie to leave before that came on,
Because it's kind of the true ending.
Yeah.
Rather than a sting,
It gave it a bow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because like you don't really know what happens with Sammy unless you get to that point, Yeah. If you're in Sammy's position, you guys think that would you consider the vampire offer, or would you just ride off into the sunset, metaphorically speaking?
I don't think I want to be that kind of vampire.
The like has all the weaknesses vampire.
Yeah, I don't think I want to be that one.
I don't know. Like right now, would I take it? Maybe. I think, but I, when I'm like 90, I don't want it. I don't want to be 90 forever.
Yeah. But you'd be like a super agile 90.
Yeah, but honestly, man, I feel like by the time you reach that age, most people that are that old are just like any day. Mm-hmm. I can take it or leave it. Is it gonna be today?
Yeah.
If so, man. Mm-hmm. If not, okay. I feel like that's kind of where he's at.
I'll play again tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how many coins I got left to put in this machine. We'll see. It's today the day.
Right. Yeah. I also thought it'd be hard for someone like Sammy to do that anyway because he's like a world-renowned musician, Even if he did take the offer, where's he gonna go?
That's fair. How would he hide effectively?
Yeah. It's not gonna heal that big ass fucking
scar,
triple scar on his face. That's like got to be instantly recognizable anywhere.
And speaking of that, it was I really loved the little touch where he said like still at least once a week he has like a nightmare about that, and I was like, oh yeah, of course you would.
Yeah. Yeah. I also love too though that he throws in like before that shit with the vampires, man, that was the best day ever.
Yeah.
And I liked the response that he got too.
Yeah.
Last time I saw my brother. Last time I saw the son.
Right. And it's funny, right? Because like especially Sammy's, like what he says about that being like the best day ever up until that point. At first I was like, that's some wild shit to say, man. And then I was like, I've been with some women where it's like, it went bad, but before it did, it was great. But it went real fucking bad.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever experienced that, but it sounds awful.
He's a big fat liar for us.
Oh, you are full of shit. You are full of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's like that, but times 10, times 1,000 for Sammy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, honestly, like the good day must have been amazing too, because I will say that like retroactively, I can't consider those times to be like amazing before they went bad. Like the fact that they went bad soured them to where I really don't enjoy the thought of them anymore. But this motherfucker's like, nah, that day was fucking awesome until the vampires showed up.
Yeah, until the goddamn vampires. I love the scene that was a callback to The Thing. The Thing is one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And don't worry, it will be on the throwback list. It's another Kurt Russell movie, so
Does he go through a portal?
He does not go through a portal.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, there's a really famous scene in The Thing. So The Thing is like a movie about it's a creature that can shapeshift, and you never know who or what the creature is. But
it's a scroll. Got it.
But it's actually scary.
Oh, okay.
And effective. And no one really knows what the creature's true form even is. But there's this scene where like they have a group of the survivors like in a little bunker area.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for The Thing, which is like almost 50 years old. and they're like, okay, well, we know that the creature doesn't like fire, but it could be any one of us in here. And so they knew that Kurt Russell's character wasn't the creature because of like when and where it attacked. But there's like, for the rest of us, how do we know? And so they set them all down and tied everybody up. And I think he took like a match or a lighter or something and held it up to everybody, and to see who, the creature would be. It's one of the best moments in the movie, and it's extremely tense. And you just waiting for the shit to pop off. And it does. This movie here does something very similar with the garlic.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Except they subverted the expectation there because The Thing kind of set the bar for scenes like that. Like somebody has to be the creature here.
Yeah.
But this scene, it's like, oh no, they just really fucked up.
Yeah.
That guy did not deserve that death.
He did not. They killed his ass. They fed him to the vampires. Did any of y'all think that Jedediah was the vampire for a second when he started to react real heavily to the garlic? Because I was like, it would be crazy because he talked about like, oh, it'll be all right. The devil's come for me many times or whatever. It would have been crazy if like he was a vampire this whole time. He just like, did the whole like, oh, I don't want to, I won't feed on people thing. Like maybe he just subsists off of alcohol.
that scene was crazy because like as he was reacting, he was also pointing towards old girl, but he wasn't really actively pointing. He was trying to get his point out. Yeah. But it looked like he was pointing at the other woman there.
What's her name?
Pauline.
Was that it?
Yeah.
The girl that had issues with it, the one that Sammy kind of like had a crush on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Pauline. Which was the name of his club?
Pearline
was the name of his club.
Yep.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, he never forgot her.
No.
Well, he found that button, so
he found the button, and he found it not a moment too soon because she didn't make it out, folks.
Well, I mean, she had a really good day, before she got turned into a vampire and murdered also.
I want to know what her husband was thinking.
I mean, shit. It don't matter now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. How mad would you guys be at the one lady who invited the vampires in?
Yeah.
I knew she was going to do that. I knew when they threatened her youngin' that she was going to do that. I was pissed about it. I was like, y'all need to gag this woman. You need to tie her up and gag her because she's going to do everything she can to get back to her kid.
I think I would have just let her go out there. Like, if it came down to that, like, all right, go.
Yeah, like, if you're going to invite them all in here, I'll just let you go out.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I did appreciate her death. She killed her husband, but did so in a way that it would also stake her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, they died together.
They also burned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have made sure that stake went through my heart before the fire got to me.
True.
For sure. Yeah, like, that whole scene was crazy. As soon as she did it, though, everybody was like, all right, guess we're about to kill some fucking vampires then.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to what you guys were saying earlier. At this point in the movie, you see there really is no plot armor, because like the remaining, protagonists, they are beginning to drop.
Yeah, once a twin died, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gloves are off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when they storm the club, like, I mean, very quickly you see some vampires start to get killed and, like, some named characters drop very quickly. It's pretty realistic to how it would have actually been. I think the only point during this fight that you get anything that's, like, not like this is how it would have happened is, we have that very long scene where Smoke is over Beatrice or whatever. He wouldn't have had that kind of time. But, I mean, obviously the movie had to pause there for that to play out, which I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
Mary's reaction to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, that was awesome. Because it gave you this kind of aspect you didn't even think about where, like, Mary liked Beatrice. And so, like, she was happy that they turned her into a vampire. Mm-hmm. And then when they kill her, it's like, oh, no, like, she's gone now, you motherfuckers. Like,
yeah, it came back to the part that Beatrice was talking about where you're still in there. Mm-hmm. Your soul is still there. It just isn't at the surface.
Right.
Yeah, which is honestly quite horrifying, you know?
You have to wonder, like, is that still the case when like Ramek is dead?
Yeah, their soul's still in there. It's still like just how like Mary and Stack are still themselves, but now they just don't have his influence because like when he was still alive, they had to do whatever he said, including like the intricate Riverdance numbers.
Very creepily filmed. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That motherfucker could sing though. Like they did such a good job with all the musical performances. Like it was just it was really fantastic. Like honestly, like when the three vampires did the first little musical number that they did. Yeah, I was like, of course, some fucking vampires would know that song. But then like I thought that was gonna be it, and then no, the vampire musicals continue. Yeah, they get creepier and creepier. Yes, until the end when they just drive that lady crazy. Can we talk about how her daughter was a badass though? I think she could have took at least 3 or 4 vampires before she went out.
I believe that. Like the daughter definitely has several guns in her vicinity. Yeah, and knows how to use them. I bet. Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel bad for the daughter. I'm sure she had like a rough couple days, but she was probably like, I gotta go back to work. Yeah, I'm sure if there's one change you can make to this movie, you obviously would want the little girl to be at the club, you know, so we could have a kid there for this whole thing. You know, to really act as like the audience, like surrogate. Yeah, the movie is 6.5 out of 10. at best.
He doesn't like child actors.
I don't like bad child acting roles.
Which is a lot of them.
A lot of them.
The majority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ramek's death was... incredible to watch.
Flame tornado.
Yeah. Flame tornado. Amazing.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. Hey, that'd be one of my things. I'd be like, listen, I'm not going to invite you guys in here, but I might come out there and let you guys turn me into a vampire if I died. Will I get a flame tornado? Because that's a badass way to go out.
It is. Like, one of the prerequisites for me to get the flame tornado death.
Yeah, how many vampires, like, how many Girl Scout cookies do I have to sell to get the flame tornado? Yeah. How many vampires do I have to turn?
It was also very creepy and had to be like disheartening for Sammy. Moments before that, when like he's trying to recite the Lord's Prayer, and then like all the vampires are saying it with him.
Oh God, yeah, I loved that.
Yeah, yeah.
That was gosh.
And
whenever they did like all the vampires speak in unison. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, when they sang in unison, when they spoke in unison, it was crazy. They really had like a hive mind thing going. I'm glad you brought that up, though, because obviously the movie from jump, you know, tells us that Sammy is going to be kind of the sole survivor, because like the opening scene we have is him showing up with just the top of the guitar. It's broken in half. We don't know where the other half is at the moment. It was embedded in a vampire lord's head. We didn't know that, though. We didn't have that information. But you know, he comes into the church and we see his dad, you know, kind of embrace him. We don't actually know that's his dad at the moment. Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing to me is, given how all that plays out, the verse that his dad has him read, and I like the little the bit where he closes the Bible and he keeps reciting it like this shit's just been driven into him, like he knows it or whatever. But the verse that he reads is talking about how like the Lord will not give you anything that you can't handle. Yeah, like he won't give you any temptation that you can't handle. And I love how that foreshadowing was there for Sammy, where it's like, yeah, you're gonna go through some shit, but you're gonna make it out, you know.
Yeah. I'd be like, hey man, look, we need to go back and revisit like what you think I can and cannot handle.
Yeah, because I definitely did not have Riverdance vampires on my can't handle category.
Oh, that's so great.
Oh shit. We spoke about the post credit scene there. I want to just like like when I see vampires that have like been around for all this time and like now they're in the 90s, like man, so like what have you been up to? You know, what do you do?
Well, obviously, he's saving up money so he can go to Chicago Bulls games.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What was it, 93 for the post-credit scene?
I think so.
I thought it was 92.
It was early 90s.
Yeah.
Either way, that's the first three-peat run. You know, he still got the whole second three-peat run. Batman Forever is going to come out in a few years.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. Sammy, his whole character arc I thought was extremely interesting. I mean, because, like, we don't see Sammy make, like, a verbal confirmation as to what his answer is to his dad there.
Yep.
You know? But it seems like his obvious answer was, I gotta go play the guitar.
Well, I mean, he already told, I think it was Stack at fucking gunpoint.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, nah, like, you might as well just shoot me now then. Because he tells him if he, you know, plays in the club again, he's going to shoot him.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you might as well just go ahead and shoot me now.
I knew what Stack was trying to do, but you can't keep talent like that contained, you know?
Yeah.
He needed to share that.
Yeah.
And he had already gotten a taste of it with that one song. And so he was like, I need this all the time now.
I did have a question, and maybe you guys caught something that I didn't. But I need to know, in the third act, like, when Smoke saved Sammy, how did he get there?
So I have a theory. Okay, I think it had something to do with Stack. I think him and Stack knew that they, like, couldn't kill each other, basically. They made the agreement, so they had time to talk. And I think Stack helped him get out there because he got past all those vampires. Yeah. The only way he could do that, I think, is with another vampire. And so he got out there, he killed him, and I think Stack got Mary, and they went back inside.
Well, so the thing is, like, the way it was all set up is he's holding Sammy in the lake, right?
Yeah.
And Sammy swings the guitar and embeds it in his head. And just before this, Remick had all of them walking towards him reciting the Lord's Prayer. So all their backs are to the club at this point. So, and then he does the thing where he swings the guitar at him and the shit gets embedded in his head and it like burns all of them, right? And so I think while all that is happening, he could have snuck up on them.
That's fair. He could have.
You know? So I think that's probably how it went, is like, because obviously he made Stack promise not to go near Sammy. So in order for him to make him promise that, like, yeah, I have to go save him now for that to be worth it. Because if Remick kills him right fucking now, then there's no need for me to even make this agreement. So
did he had to have gotten down the same way that Sammy did?
I fucking hope not, man, because that shit was Wile E. Coyote level.
When he fell, I was like, dude.
I was like, did you not know the floor stopped there?
In his defense, I would have probably did the same shit. Because, like, there's vampires behind me.
That's true, but I don't know, dog. I think I would have got down a little slower.
I probably wouldn't have even, like, I'm saying that he probably didn't notice or just even think about the fact that, oh, yeah, there's no more ground.
He tried to, like, Kratos out of there, but it didn't work.
Gravity still works. There's vampires, but gravity didn't leave.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I just love that end scene, though. I just wish that we did have like a more definitive like showing of how Smoke got down there, but it was still effective.
Yeah, agreed.
Any final thoughts on this movie before we wrap up here?
I thought it was amazing. I loved it, and I loved what it made me feel. So I'm very happy that I would.
Yeah, I mean, this movie combined musical excellence, historical value, stellar acting. I mean, really all the things that you want out of something you're going to go to the cinema to see. And in a world of, like, endless sequels and remakes and rehashing of the same ideas and the same writing, This was an incredible breath of fresh air. Cannot wait to see what he does with Black Panther 3. I think that's going to be his next movie. We know Denzel is in it. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to working alongside Denzel. I think that he and I can really have some incredible scenes together. We can probably feed off of each other.
We've been over this.
They
They gave that part to Aldous Hodge, man. I'm telling you.
I don't think, because they haven't reached out to me properly yet.
Don't rain on his parade.
Yeah,
He's happy.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm trying not to set him up, for like.
It's a delusion that can stay one right now.
What do you mean? Delusion?
Delulu.
They canceled the Mahershala Ali Blade movie, so there's still a chance that Kevin Feige's saving him for Blade.
Yeah, and like I don't mind pulling double duty. I mean I'll do it, but yeah. So that'd be fun.
Right.
Yeah. But Ryan Coogler, for me, he's becoming one of those directors for me that's like Christopher Nolan, where it's like I don't really care what you're doing next. I want to see it.
Agreed. Yeah.
And that's kind of like the highest praise I can give to a director.
Yeah.
Because in most cases, I at least need like a premise, who's going to be in it. I need something, but Ryan Coogler, he's in that rare air now where I just want to see whatever you do next. This movie, man, is tremendous, and I hope everyone goes to see it and has a good time with it, because I think there's something in this movie for everybody, and the way that everything blends together so well that I feel most other directors would just fuck up, but he's able to blend together like historical accuracy in a really rough time for a certain kind of people in America, with just tremendous music, and he's able to blend that with like horror elements of a supernatural nature. I love this movie. So,
Agreed.
Well, homies, that's gonna be all for this one. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this thorough review / breakdown / spoiler filled and spoiler free review of Ryan Coogler's Sinners. I can't wait to see what Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan do next, because apparently they have to work together.
We think Killmonger's going to be in Black Panther 3?
He'll find a way. He put him in Black Panther 2.
That's true. That's true. He died in the first one. They find a way to put it in the second one. Life will find a way.
Life will find a way. That's going to be all for now. Kay, thank you again for being on and providing your expertise.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thanks for letting me info dump.
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely.
No, it was perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the homies are going to love that too. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, homies, we will see you guys again very soon. We have a lot more coming down the pipeline. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.
I'm Superhero Homie K.